everybody. Let me start by imagining a Sunday morning. Okay, let's say your mom or dad offers to make you one of your favorite dishes, masala omelette for breakfast, and then they start cooking, and then they realize out of green chilies. And what's masala omelette without green chilies? So you are busy in whatever you're doing, and your grandmother or grandfather offered to go down to the nearest vegetable shop and pick up some chilies. And let's just look at their adventure on the roads while as they're walking. Okay, so these are the roads. They have to walk through slush and bad roads and potholes and missing footpaths, or the footpaths are so high that their arthritic knee will hurt as they climb up. There is debris dumped all over. Sometimes there aren't footpaths, or there's sewage overflowing on the roads. And sometimes there's just nothing, a huge swath of road with a lot of traffic, and it's just nearly impossible to walk, right? And there are hawkers on the streets, and then there is burning garbage here and there. It's really, really messy. So who's responsible for this mess in our Bangalore? Is it the contractor who's made those bad roads and bad footpaths? Is it the vendor, the street vendor with selling fruits or vegetables or food on the side so that you can't walk easily? Is it the official who looked by the other way while the contractor was doing the bad work, or is it that construction worker who has his tea and just tosses it cup into the drain on the side? So let's just try to understand these people and where they are coming from, right? So Bangalore has about 1.5 to 2 lakh street vendors, and the reason they're there on the footpath is because our city government has not identified vending zones for them as they're supposed to as per law. So they have to be there somewhere, right? It is a matter of their livelihood. And the other reason they're there is their customers are there. Who are their customers? People who cannot afford to get into a Suksagar to pay to have that 50 rupee meal. They need to have their rice bath for 15 rupees in that food cart. Vegetables are much cheaper there, or they get clothes, they get so many other things from the street vendors. And these are people who are working in our apartments or in our offices as housekeeping staff, as drivers, or cooks and domestic help and construction workers. And then all of them are making about less than 10,000 to 12,000 a month. And there is no way they can afford the higher expenses on that. And who pays them these lowly wages? We do, right? They are our employees or drivers, or they're working in our offices. Then let's look at the other kind of people. Every year, IT companies grow they hire thousands of people. And Bangalore is really growing very fast, right? In 2001, between 2001 and 11, it grew by about 51%, like literally doubled in size from 4.5 million to 9 million and probably 10 plus million now. One of the highest growing, growth rate anywhere across any city. And who are for every 1,000 people that every IT company employs, there are new people coming in, and real estate developers go and build these massive properties. They scramble to build development for these employees. So everywhere you see all these high rises and villas coming up. And where do they get their workers from? So they hire contractors who go and get workers from across maybe Assam or Orissa or North Karnataka. And these could be farm laborers. Maybe they're not able to earn their livelihood in their farm because of drought, or maybe some big development project has snatched away their land. And so over about 850 people come to Bangalore every day, and only that small percentage is this whole IT services kind of crowd. And where will they all live? They cannot afford to live near their places of work, so they will live farther away outside the city. In fact, on my way today, I saw like about a few hundred people walking up Sarjapur Road, workers wearing their hard hats, going to their construction sites. So these are people living far away from their work, and they take the public transportation, they take the buses. 50% of Bangalore uses BMTC buses. The remaining 50% uses, there are 54 lakh private vehicles, most of them these cars and bikes. 6,500 BMTC buses carry 50% of the population, and the remaining we're using these cars and bikes. So who causes the traffic jams? All of us who are traveling in cars, single occupancy cars and bikes. And then sitting in the cars, we crib about the pollution, the bad roads. We say, there's so much of corruption in this country. Why can't the government build bad roads? Yes, corruption is there. It is estimated that about 35% of the money that any contract has goes into bribes. But what really, where does this money go really? It goes across to various destinations, across top to bottom. There are officials, maybe elected representatives, politicians, etc., etc. But let's try to understand, why does it really need to be? So every election, for example, candidates will come canvassing, and they often have to bribe voters with gifts and cash or time, so that they come out and vote. And it takes, even otherwise, it takes a lot of money to run an election campaign. If you've done it in your school, you know you need to market yourself to your voters, you need to reach out to them using pamphlets and hoardings, you need to feed your supporters, you have to organize rallies. It's a lot of money, right? And all that has got to be compensated in some ways. And the real people who are voting, you can see long queues in the voting booths, wherever there are slums and low-income areas. But the people, the educated, middle class, upper middle class, you will find shorter queues. These are the people who are not voting. In fact, let me tell you a real true story. A couple of years ago, one of the candidates came to residence and he exhorted people to vote. He said, if you guys don't vote, I will be forced to be corrupt. He actually said that. So really, we have a comfortable lives inside our apartments, and we don't take the trouble to go out and vote. And in our apartments, of course, things go on smoothly. Our housekeeping does a great job. It's almost automated, right? Our lives. But outside, it's a completely different game. You see garbage all over. You see, they don't even pick it up. So why is this happening? Why doesn't the government pick up the garbage? Very simple. There are no destinations for it. Bangalore had 7 landfills around the city. These are some of the landfills: Mandur, Mavalipura, Kimsandra, Kannalli, Bingipura. And all the villages started protesting because it was polluting their land, their water. The leachate was going underground. So with all the protests, slowly, one by one, they started shutting down. So where will the garbage go really? And even if it is, let's say it is segregated, wet waste can be composted, or you can send it to biogas plants. High value waste like recyclables like paper and metal and plastics can get recycled, so it's okay. But the bulk of it is these non-segregated mixed waste and low value plastic. Even your styrofoam or thermocol, your plastic cups, paper is coated with plastic, so it's really not recyclable. So all this are very difficult to get rid of. There's no way to process it easily or at low cost. So who are the people who are using these coffee cups? Who are the people who hold parties in our community clubhouse, and we use all these packing material, we buy through e-commerce stores, we have organizations, our corporates and schools having plastic drinking cups. It's us. End of the day, we're part of the system and we're part of the problem. So it is, yes, it is the officials, it is the contractors, it's the workers, the vendors, and it is us. We're part of the problem, and therefore, and we're all affected, right? And in fact, a lot of people think it's about doing good activists. Somebody is an activist because they're trying to make a difference, they're trying to do good. No, it's not. It's self-defense. It is our land, which that it is how all this is happening. It is this is where we're getting water. You can see that the borewell, which is right next to Bengaluru Lake, our water is coming from there. The garbage that is getting burned, we are breathing in that air with all those carcinogens. It's the milk that we drink. What are the cows eating? It's the vegetables we're eating. You can see if you go down to Vartur Road, you will see all they're growing sopus and greens. So it's a very defense. I'm saying it's self-defense. We have to fix this. Otherwise, we are all getting affected. It is not about rich or poor or where you live, what you do. It is our city, and we are part of the problem. Therefore, we fix it. Right? And a lot of you will think like, I'm not an activist, like where do I start? And you don't see yourself as a change maker, but we are. Every little thing can come, and let me just give you some examples for that. So if, for example, this is a very, very small thing. So my friend's mom uses a wheelchair, and this is near her apartment. And there was a food vendor, a food cart there, tea wala, who had set up shop there. And because of that, the footpath was unusable, and you had to get down, that 1 foot down, and then get up. And so she went and talked to him and figured out that there is place across the road where he can set up shop, and it doesn't really inconvenience him. His customers will still come, and it's just a process of negotiation and discussion. And he moved, and he was happy to move because he understood the need. And now we have a clean footpath. It's a very, very small thing, maybe a half an hour of discussion, and actually could happen. At the next level, this is another example. If you come down on Sarjapur Road, you would have seen. This is a lot of discussion with the local traffic cops. And we have an inspector who's very, very committed and passionate, Mr. Rao, which you can see in there near the JCB. So we talked about the bottlenecks on Sarjapur Road and ORR, and came up with a few ideas and solutions to figure out what can work. So one of the solutions which was adopted was this like protected U-turn. So now at the fire station at the Blue Junction, you can see 2 U-turns. So that has really smoothened up the traffic there, and that is because we got together, discussed, and tried to solve the problem. It took some hours, some visits, some days to get that done. We had to shift the Bestcom pole. That was the work that was happening. But finally it happened, right, over a few weeks. At the next level, it could be a little more complex. For example, this is one lake on Sarjapur Road. You may, if you remember, a few 7-8 years ago, this is how it looked. And a few people got together and said, started questioning, asked the government, what's happening, why is sewage coming in, why is nobody maintaining the lake, etc., etc. And over time, they started, and at the same time, the government also had a plan to rejuvenate some lakes, and both that, ideas kind of clicked, and they started working together, and this is Kaikonralli Lake today. But it started with maybe 1 person, 2 people going and trying to figure out what's happening and how things can be made better. So in fact, after this, the citizen group have formed a trust, and they are now maintaining 7 lakes in that entire chain: Ambalipura, Kaikonralli, Saukere. So some of you may be familiar with it. Maybe you've gone for runs there over weekends. So this is another example. Around 2012, some of our apartments decided to start segregating. This was way before it became the law or anything. And we tried to figure out how to make it really easy for residents to actually segregate wet waste from recyclables from the sanitary waste. And we came up with this 2 bin and 1 bag approach over a lot of iterations. But it started working. So it was for initially 3 apartments, Springfield, Raindrops, and SJR Verity, with about 600, 700 homes. And then today, about 100,000 households in Bangalore are segregating. It has now become the law. It is an official policy, this whole 2 bin and 1 bag, because a whole bunch of people got together and tried to figure out how to make it actually work. It's just ordinary people. not some experts, not somebody, some scientists or anything. This is, at the end of the day, it is just common sense and that willingness to, actually find solutions to simple problems. So in fact, it is spread around, around Bangalore through citizen push and through volunteers. It has also gone outside Bangalore. Other states are adopting it. That's the Sikkim Urban Development Department that Under Secretary is now, they have taken it and trying to roll that out in Sikkim also. So the next step, this team is actually working on a new campaign to reach 1 million people in Bangalore. They're giving this 1 week composting challenge. So don't throw out any of your waste. So you segregate at home and try to compost your kitchen waste and grow some plants in it. So that's called the Swachhagrah challenge for 1 million people. So it kind of goes, whether it is small or you're trying to scale up, it doesn't really matter. You look at what interests you and what kind of problems that really affect you directly and try to figure, how that can change. So, which brings me to the topic of what happens if you get stuck. At some point, you don't know where to complain, and how do you get, they're supposed to widen this road, and I don't know where the plans are, etc. How do I get this document? So at that point, you can reach out to us, that is Citizen Matters. So a few years ago, we started Citizen Matters as a community news media, because a city of 10 million, right, it's as big as a country. Sweden is probably around the same size. We didn't have a dedicated media focused on the city, trying to understand why these problems happen, not just the what of various issues, but also the why and how. So we cover news in depth. We cover citizen initiatives. We provide a lot of data. We do data journalism. We do in-depth investigative stuff. We do a lot of how-tos, like how do you get your property registered without paying a bribe? How do you get a driver's license? How do you get a birth certificate? And also citizens start sharing their own experience, how I managed to change my electricity, the name in my electricity bill without paying bribe, etc. So we kind of collate, it's a knowledge base of information that really empowers you as a citizen. And so these are some of the stories that citizens have shared. So they kind of read, they learn, understand issues much better, and they go out and do their own thing, trying to solve their problems, and they come back and share their stories. And that inspires other people, and so that they can replicate some of those successes. So you can look at this things. So one was a noise pollution campaign. Something else is about saving lakes. For example, Benedict Jadakumar is an interesting case. One man has gone around every day, he cycles on Agora, and he used to find these nails on the road, right, that some miscreants may have put so that they could make money by fixing the punctured tires. So every day, whenever he went, he had this contraption with magnets. So he would just go collect the nails on the road and go. So every day he collects a few hundred nails. It's just like one man, now a few people are doing it. But it has made a huge difference. Imagine the implication of getting stuck on ORR with a punctured tire. Right? So many people doing small things, and all that adds up. So end of the day, it's really about, if you're not part of the solution, you're part of the problem. Thank you.